Welcome to another episode of the Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast. I am one of your hosts. My name is Frankie, and sitting across the internet from me is my fellow fantasy loser, Cam. Cam, how's it going?
I don't want to talk about it.
But I do want to talk about it. Cam, you lost. How's it feel?
I don't know why you're asking me, Frankie. You have a lot more experience with it.
Yeah, I mean, the last time you lost was in the championship game. You know, it's been a while.
Yeah, I lost to Levi, and guess what happened this week?
You lost to Levi.
No, I got triggered, Frankie.
It happens to the best of us. Alrighty,
Yeah.
So thank you all for joining us for another episode. Do our regular stuff. We'll start off here with a quick waiver discussion, talk about the waivers that went through this morning. We're going to have a new mini segment where I'm going to discuss some code of conduct things that have come up this week and some etiquette, perhaps. That'll be topic number 2. Number 3 will go
Frankie,
into
we're so well behaved.
Yeah, I know. Number 3 will go into our usual weekly rewinds, talk about all the matches from this last week. Followed up with quick power rankings. Not a whole lot of movement this week, but we'll get to that. After that, we'll highlight our matchup of the week. And then we have a new segment where we're going to be talking about the survey results from Cam's survey, which I believe has been run twice since the last episode.
Yeah.
But definitely it was ran last night. We have some interesting stuff there, I'm sure. And we'll end it all with a mailbag. Cam, does that sound good to you?
Sounds great, Frankie.
Alrighty. So let's go right into our quick waiver discussion. Just, 3 bullet points. I think probably the big ticket item just to start off with is the Wendell Smallwood acquiring from Tyler for $35, just barely outbidding you, who bid $33. Looks like Levi also bid, and so did Greg and Dylan. So it's definitely the hot ticket item of this week.
Yeah, another example of Cam getting outbid just barely. Not
yeah. So yeah, congrats to Tyler on that. The next other one that I saw here is Lassie, who acquired Dante Moncrief, in light of the Fournette injury, for $31. No one else bid. So by that logic, he overbid by $31. And he also, I also want to know, he dropped Frank Gore, who he tried to trade to me yesterday. Come on, Lassie. for Kenyon Drake. Come on, man.
Oh my God.
There's no way you thought I was going to fall for that.
Okay, so this is honestly the first time I've actually looked at this waiver thing that Lassie did, and I don't understand any bit of it.
Yeah.
Like, I would probably rather have Frank Gore than Dante Moncrief, and he just traded away 2 running backs to Logan and got a wide receiver back, so you'd figure he'd want more running backs than wide receivers on his team now.
Yep.
Makes no sense.
Yep.
And then $31 just to cap it off.
And the only other big thing here, at least what I think is to be a bigger one, Cameron spent $21 on Jameis Winston, a quarterback who's played exactly one half of a game this season and was losing his job at the end of last season. Why did you feel you need to spend $21 on him? I get that he's playing the Falcons, but explain yourself.
Okay, so it was last night or whatever, and I had a couple waiver claims in. One, obviously, for Wendell Smallwood. One for Jameis Winston. And then I think my next highest was for Ronald Jones, who I ended up getting as well.
Yes.
And I looked at my bids, and it was like, I don't know, $17 for Smallwood and $8 for Jameis Winston. And I just thought about the last couple weeks where I'd just been constantly outbid, how much fab money I had, and I was like, this is stupid. So I just bumped everything up a bunch. Probably should have put more of that towards Smallwood than Winston, I'm going to be honest here.
Yeah.
But, no regrets.
Yeah. I think you're in for a good week. You could be in for a good week. It's hard to tell, but I watched that. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But I watched that Falcons defense play this weekend. They make the Steelers defense look competent. So yeah, that was our quick waiver discussion. And right before we get into our usual weekly rewinds, I wanted to have this segment here talk about some code of conduct because we had some controversy this week. Maybe we shouldn't have jinxed it last week when we were talking about controversy. However, this is not a league-ending one. This is just a weekly thing. And okay, I'm going to start off with just talking about trading in general and just a general code of conduct. Okay, and I'm going to direct this mostly to Lassie, but this is for the entire league. If somebody sends a trade to you, it is like your responsibility within like a reasonable time period to respond. And it's just like an etiquette thing. It's just like if somebody sends you a trade and if it's not like a joke trade, like you should at least respond, because as we saw earlier last week, like Dylan and I could have had a trade that went through. It ultimately ended up falling apart, but it was delayed by 3 days because we were trying to see if Lassie would respond to me. So I feel like it's just, you should just, you know, be respectful in the sense that you should respect other owners' times and understand that there could be other things going on. So if a trade is given to you, you should, you know, it's up to both people, I think, to, you know, create a line of communication between the two of you and just really talk it out. It's like if you don't like the trade, just respond something like, all right, if I don't like this, but what about this? Or if you just think it's bad, just decline it. I just feel like there's a little bit, we could be doing a little bit better etiquette-wise. Did you have any thoughts, Cam?
Yeah, on that note, I'd like to have a shout out to one Tyler Walker, because I sent him a trade offer yesterday, and you know, just wanted to see what would happen. And he responded to me in the sleeper DM area, and was like, this is an interesting trade. Let me sleep on it, and we'll see what happens. And then he slept on it, sent me a counter, and the rest is history. Yeah, so that was an awesome way to go about it. Yeah.
And so, okay, that's it for the trading etiquette. I'm just salty. That's generally what it is. But moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about collusion here. What is collusion? What isn't collusion? And why, against most people's opinions that I talked to, that I came down on the trade between Dylan and JP of trying to do the Deshaun Jackson 1 week rental thing. To me, collusion is when two teams work together, or like that's one example of collusion. And that's collusion because, in theory, you are playing against every other team in the league. It's you versus the world, even though we have divisions and things like that, weekly matchups. At the end of the day, you should be playing against every other team in the league. So when you do something to help, like assist another team, such as holding onto a player for 1 week, like that is collusion, because you should be only acting in your own best interest. So that's why I saw that as collusion. I feel like if you look up on any, like, I also looked through like lots of different websites on fantasy for commissioners about 1 week rentals, and the like unanimous decision is that it's collusion. And for a lot of people even think it's like ban worthy, which I didn't think it was ban worthy, but a lot of people are saying like, yeah, if someone in my league did that, like I would literally kick them out of the league. Like that's how against like the spirit of fantasy it is. So I think we all can recognize what happened here, what went wrong, why I decided to change it, and I don't think we should have any issues with this going forward. And then my last little code of conduct thing is we're now into we're coming up on week 6, and one person has paid me so far, so I'm gonna, Venmo, or I'm sure I'll be in and around Corvallis or Eugene in the next several weeks as well. Just please have some money ready for me. Eventually it's gonna get to the point where I'm gonna start like individually like hounding all of you, and just like don't let it get to that point, and no one has to get upset. Sound good? Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Alrighty, that was a little code of conduct, and let's get right into our weekly rewinds. And as always, we'll start off with our matchup of the week, Cam versus Levi. Cam, take it away.
Okay, so if we look back at last week's survey, based on the group voting, I got equal amount of votes for both me and Levi, and that could not have been more accurate for what happened last week. My God. I was sitting there, Monday Night Football, watching the Saints constantly not using Kamara and just handing it to Mark Ingram all the time. Michael Thomas wasn't doing a lot. That was actually kind of like made me feel better. but it's down to like right before the 2-minute warning or whatever, and the Saints are in field goal range, up 30 points. They give one more handoff to Mark Ingram, gets 9 yards. I lose by 0.4 points, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is easily our closest game of the season, and it might end up being the closest game of the season. I talked about it a lot last week with Mark Ingram potentially being a league changer, not just a team changer for Levi, and we saw the first effects of that this week. And a big part of that also is just the game script wasn't necessarily in the favor of the running game in general, but Ingram still got 16 carries to Kamara's 6, including 2 goal line carries. I know Cam and I, we were talking about the match before, right before Monday Night Football, and it was and you asked me how was I feeling, and I said, man, I'm worried about those goal line carries for Ingram, man. Yeah, that's
just had to jinx it. So after this game, I feel like I went through a decent amount of stages of grief. I was in denial because I saw that Mark Ingram fumbled it earlier in the game. He recovered it, but I didn't see that in his stat line. But then I counted out the points, and I realized that it was counted, so I couldn't complain about that. But I could complain about how 63-yard field goals are still worth 5 points instead of 6, because that could have won me the game. But it's fine. Not salty, I swear.
All right. Welcome to the Losers Club.
Yeah. All I hope is that I'm not the last man to join. Dylan, come on down.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's move on to our next matchup here. We got Justin versus Logan. Justin, who is taking names in the Studs and Stoners division.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, it's a really good game from Odell. His first really good game of the season. And on the back of him throwing that beautiful touchdown pass, as well as catching one himself. Other takeaways here, both his running backs did really well. McCaffrey is a beast, someone who I didn't expect, someone who I thought was heavily overrated going into this season. Continues to perform for Justin, so congrats for that, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then, let's see, is there anything else on Justin's side? Joe Mixon being back and healthy, that's always good for him. Good to see he could come back off the bye and put up some good numbers for him.
Yeah, you definitely do not see any traces of that team that started 0-3 for Justin anymore.
Yeah, very true. Over on Logan's side, Calvin Ridley finally came back to earth, which is nice because he was insane. So maybe he isn't as good as Julio. Maybe it's just 1 week. We'll see. But this is the second week in a row we've noted that Logan has some serious point scorers on his bench. 25.8 for Robbie Anderson and 29.6 for Crowell, respectively. Another week where some better start sits could have won Logan the week. But also, I don't know, it's a tough call for some of these. I definitely get why he wanted to start Jarvis over Robbie, which I definitely would have done the same. But I could have started Crowell over Hyde just because of that Baltimore defense. But I can't fault him too much for the decisions.
Yeah, Logan's got that worst manager award from Sleeper 2 weeks in a row. He's got to look to improve that if he hopes to keep his lead on the division.
Yeah, and I noticed that he also dropped Vance McDonald this week. Yeah, watching that Steeler game. As we'll know a little bit later when we get to talking about Antonio Brown, the squeaky wheel often gets the oil, or whatever that saying is.
Grease, yeah.
And Vance McDonald basically got game planned out. He just ended up just blocking most of the game for James Conner, and we saw the effects of that as well. But yeah, moving on now to the matchup of the Jakes. Jake Logan versus Jake Pond. Another close match, but JP just barely takes out an alpha. Sucks to suck, Jake.
Yeah, Jake Logan was here in Corvallis for most of the Sunday, and we were able to experience watching games with him. And there was one moment that we were watching. It was in the Jets-Denver game, and it was near the very end of the game. The Jets got a pick inside the end zone and ran it all the way down to like the 5-yard line, just barely not scoring a touchdown.
Oh yeah,
And
I saw
Jake
that
Logan, yeah, he was just devastated by it. And it turns out that if he actually scored a touchdown there, he could have won the game.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
crazy how swings like that can happen.
Yeah, that's actually pretty nuts. I saw that highlight and didn't even think about that, but that is crazy. Yeah, as well on Jake Logan's side, I'm looking to see Austin Hooper have another big week this week against the Tampa Bay, who is just as bad, if not worse, against the tight end as the Steelers are. So I think he has that to look forward to as well. But yeah, more on JP's side, the Patriots showed up offensively at least.
Yeah.
That's nice. So we big games from Brady, decent outing from Julian Edelman. You know, not exactly what you'd want from his first weekend back, but I don't think you can ask for too much more. And then, you know, 10.5 points for Gronk, second best week of the season. Not too shabby either.
Yeah, Jake's team is definitely paying off from some of those good late round wide receiver picks.
Yeah.
You know, he got Emmanuel Sanders, Julian Edelman, Tyler Lockett scored 17.9. Sean Jackson was on bye, so we couldn't start him, but it's definitely helping Jake's team out a lot.
Yeah, that was a note I took as well. That's going to be some interesting start sits going forward with Lockett, Edelman, and Sanders, just to see who's going to think. I think it's going to happen more than once. You know, more than just this week. He's going to end up picking the wrong receiver, just because nothing against him as an owner, just because that's kind of just the way fantasy works. But only other thing to super note here is that, I mean, I guess we're kind of burying the lead here. JP really won off the back of Alfred Blue and the controversial trade that happened.
Yeah, it was definitely a clutch decision by him. And I don't know why Jake Logan wouldn't have put in that extra $21 to try and outbid him to secure the win.
Yeah, honestly, that bewildered me. I didn't understand the decision at all. I was like, yeah, when I saw him discussing that, like, I was glad that when JP said it, and then Dylan immediately responded, like, out in a public forum of like, hey, and you're running back, and he said, I'll bid, and then he's like, well, and then he gave Jake the chance to outbid JP, and he's just like, no, I don't want to. And I was thinking, like, do I put my own hat in the ring and just take him away? Like, I was thinking about it, but I was like, yeah, I'll let them do their thing. Alrighty, next matchup here we have Dylan versus Lassie. Dylan will retain the Try Hard Chalice this week. Congratulations, Dylan. Undefeated with the Try Hard Chalice. I guess it's pretty fitting.
Yeah, I'm sure he appreciates that a lot. And it's very important to him.
Yeah, my note on Dylan's team is literally, like, no one on his team underperformed. Like, of people who are like important, like, I don't really count kickers or defense as that important. I guess, but like, look on his team, like, every single person put up good to great numbers. Adam Thielen's amazing. And James Conner had a really great game against a really terrible defense, which he should, which is good, with two really nice touchdown runs as well. Patrick Mahomes is the only player on the team really who, like, didn't have an amazing game, but he was playing against the Jacksonville defense, and so, like, you can't fault him too much at all, really.
Yeah, so this was my upset of the week last week, and you know, Lassie really pulled his weight in this one, scored a lot of points, but Dylan, I was just expecting something to go wrong for him this week, and nothing did. Like, the Vikings were solid, and they beat the Eagles, and Mahomes didn't do as bad as he maybe could have against Jacksonville, and it worked out well for him.
Yeah, very true. Looking over to Lassie's side just a bit. Yeah, Golden Tate underperforms this week. I didn't get to watch Did you get to watch the Lions game at all?
I watched Red Zone. It was pretty fluky because there were a couple plays where, like, Green Bay just made some mistakes and it gave the Lions super short field position, and they just pounded it in with LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Good game. Good game from Barkley over here as well, who's just continuing to be an absolute stud. Fantasy-wise, at least. The Giants aren't doing so hot, but he's doing really well for himself. Let's see, anything else on this? Jared Cook underperforms, that's to be expected. Yeah, I guess a slower week from Aaron Jones, who I looked at to be a very valuable asset moving forward, but easy said is a weird game between the Packers and the Lions, so it's hard to tell. It's hard to take anything from that. Okay, now let's move on to our second to last matchup here. We have Devin versus Greg. If I could scroll to it. There we are. Devin wins this one over Greg on the back of Todd Gurley, of course, and Zach Ertz. My big takeaway from Devin's side is that Eagles, Rams, Chargers, those are some pretty good offensive teams, and he's just kind of got them all lined up in his roster. It's a nice position. It's a nice position to be in.
Yeah. Devin was the lowest scoring alpha this week, but he was able to pull out the win over Greg. Todd Gurley, just an animal. And he did it without Brandon Cooks even getting a target because he got that concussion. So I think Devin, hoping that he can replace Brandon Cooks' production, has got a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, I guess one thing to note here is that, I think it's pretty safe to say that Nelson Aguilar, I don't know if you can call him a bust for his draft capital, but he hasn't been good this season, and I think and he just gets this is the third week in a row of underperforming, and I guess Alshon's still coming back, and it's just playing a tougher defense this week. I expect to see I expect to see a really good game from one of them against the Giants this next week, and I hope it's Alshon, but I'm not super sure who it's going to be going forward. But I mean, as long as Devin keeps starting both of them, because he doesn't have to worry about which one he wants to start. Over on Greg's side here, Marshawn had his first stinker week, which is, I mean, you can't even be mad about that, Greg. He had 4 amazing weeks in a row. The receivers looking really strong, AJ, and Sanu, who is really the only receiver who really had a great day against the Steelers defense, surprisingly. He got that touchdown reception to really boost him forward. And then a down week from Tyler Boyd, which I think is more of an anomaly, or not an anomaly, but I feel like that's more of an outlier than anything. I think Tyler Boyd's going to be really good going forward this season, and especially this next week against the Steelers. I think they have a lot of good stuff. This matchup came down to Greg needing some big stuff from Jordan Reed and Will in the late game, and because of that, he had 2 targets and 1 reception for him. So it's rough.
Yeah, the real kicker here for Greg is Matt Ryan's been scoring Aaron Rodgers basically every week so far this season, and once Greg finally decides to play him, he gets 13 for him, with Aaron Rodgers getting 26 on the bench. That's rough for him.
Yeah, it's rough. I'm looking forward to next week. Matt Ryan does have Tampa Bay next week, and who does Aaron have? San Francisco, and they're both dealing with weird injuries, so that'll be an interesting start set this week as well.
Yeah, we'll see what he does.
Yeah, alrighty. And then the last matchup we'll go into is mine, if we have to. I hate everything. I don't have anything to say about my team. What else is there to say about a team that has to start Tevin Coleman and Javorius Buck Allen as the running back 1 and 2, and then Kenyon Drake has a 21-point game on my bench? Oh, it was so upsetting.
Yeah, Mason Crosby. He started him during this week. Didn't work out super well either.
Yeah, one of the better kickers in the history of Green Bay is as a franchise, and won't be on my team for very long. And then I didn't even notice this. How did 6 targets for Ricky Seals-Jones and 0 points, no receptions? Holy God! I really thought that. I guess I'll talk about this. This is the last time I'm going to talk about the quarterback situation in Arizona the rest of the season. But I feel like my logic was sound going in with Sam Bradford at least being semi-decent. It would have been so much better. And I still feel like Josh Rosen has potential, but oh my God, I can't take another. This is the 4th sub-5-point week in a row for Larry Fitzgerald, the number 1 receiver from last season. Are you kidding me? Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes! And then a little bit of a down week for Juju. I don't even really care. Like this, I just love. I mean, the Steelers' offense is getting back on track, and they're already getting over their September blues, which they have every season, which is nice. But looking at that, Antonio Brown, great week for Tyler, to really, mostly pretty good week from most of his players. Of course, James White and Eric Ebron, of all people, kind of propelled Tyler to the win here, with Jay Ajayi having, pretty much a bad week just for him in fantasy and in real life. Tore his ACL. That's rough. It doesn't get much worse than that. And then Julio, I'm surprised Julio even got 9 targets because he was almost invisible that entire Steelers game. But yeah, anything else to point on his side? And Njoku doing work on his bench as well, which is nice looking forward because of how rough the landscape for tight ends is this season.
Yeah, Tyler's got 2 pretty good ones.
Yeah. So yeah, we talked about this a week or two ago about what teams could be looking forward to having better days ahead of them, and so far both Justin and Tyler are really rising to that. I'm excited to see both of them. Let's see just really quickly who they play this next week, just so I can look at that.
Justin gets your boy Cam right here.
Ooh, that'll be a good one. And then Tyler gets Lassie. Lassie coming off of a good week this week. But let's see, he's got some bye issues. Oh my goodness. Drew Brees on bye, a Golden Tate on bye. Yeah. I think it could be another strong week for Tyler. Trying to get back into that Alphas division title race.
Yeah, and with 2 of the top Alphas losing this week, it's getting more and more open for him.
Yeah, very true. Alrighty, that was our weekly rewinds. Quickly, I'm just gonna run through my power rankings. Not a whole lot of changes this week, but I'll note the notable one.
Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 9,000! What, 9,000? There's no way that can be right!
Alrighty, so I'll start with my bottom tier, which I have finally caved and put myself in. But just because, I don't want to talk about it. 12, I still have Greg down there. We're flopping back and forth on which weeks we're scoring better than each other. But I still think with the potential of Le'Veon Bell on my team, I still think you have to put me slightly ahead, even though he's outperformed me this week, but whatever. And 11, I put myself. That's the bottom tier. And I'm moving Lassie up a tier. Lassie getting a spot at number 10, right below Logan at 9, JP at 8, and Justin at 7. Putting them all in the same tier. I think you could even make an argument for putting Justin above a tier. Up a tier, I mean. But
one interesting thing I'd like to note here is you got the entire Studs and Stoners division sitting in spots 8 through 11, huh?
Yes.
It's very interesting.
But we're still the best division of all time. Don't worry about it. We're waiting for our time to strike, and it's coming soon. I promise. Anyways. Next tier up, at number 6, I have Devin, and 5, I have Tyler. Their own little tier right there. I think I just flip-flopped them from last week, just because Tyler is continuing to have really good weeks, and I believe, and I flipped them over because this is the second week in a row Tyler has outscored Devin. Both weeks in the top 6 for Tyler, and both weeks of Devin just barely missing the top 6. Actually, Devin was like 10th this week. He was kind of low. Yeah.
I have one note for you on that tier real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Just looking at the standings, those are both the bottom teams in the Alpha division, right? But they are only separated by 1.4 on the season, with Devin at 551, Tyler at 550.
Yeah.
Tyler has 82 more points against. So,
yeah.
I can see why you put Tyler above him.
Yeah, alrighty. And then next tier, second best tier here, I have Levi at 4, Jake at 3. Yes, Jake, I heard your complaint about you outscoring Levi in 4 out of 5 weeks. That is true. This ranking is not based solely on scoring. If it was based solely on scoring, we could just do it objectively. But there is some subjectivity to these rankings, talking about potential weekly performances, what I think it could be happening going forward. But I think at this point, I got to give you the edge. Still the same tier, though. So, I mean, like I said, for the most part, the tiers are somewhat interchangeable. But it's pretty close. And then here at the very top, I finally have Cam at number 2, and I have Dylan at number 1. Even though Cam has outscored Dylan 4 out of 5 weeks this season, I'm going to give Dylan the nod for number 1 just because he's undefeated, and I think it could pretty much go either way.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a better record than me, so I guess I can't really argue, huh?
Yeah, it's just a tiebreaker. I don't know. It's pretty much how it is. And like the uncertainty over the whole Alvin Kamara thing, I don't know. I expect him to bounce back pretty quickly, but definitely not. Its production is definitely going to be taken. He's definitely going to lose quite a bit of production with Ingram coming back.
Yeah, there's no way he's putting up 40 points a week every week, right?
Yeah. All right, so that's my quick power rankings. Just wanted to get those out because not a whole lot of changes from last week. And then we're going to move on here and talk about our matchup of the week, which I decided and we decided on. I think the best matchup of this week is going to be Dylan versus Jake Logan for a couple reasons. One being that I think this is a strong week. I think that Jake has a decent to good shot at beating Dylan and ending Dylan's undefeated streak. Not that it will be a cakewalk by any means, but I think it could definitely happen. And also, there's some salt, I think, from Jake's side over the way the whole trade went down with Alfred Blue and kind of ruining his week, even though I think Jake doesn't have anyone to blame but himself, honestly. And an important thing to note here is that we all consider Dylan the try-hard. I think Jake qualifies as a try-hard too. So this will be another game where the try-hard chalice is up for grabs.
I have to work harder, or I won't stand a chance. I want to be the greatest, so I'll keep on trying until I've got what it takes to do that!
Yeah, Jake's got to make sure he puts his best foot forward for this game if he wants to win that chalice off of Dylan. It's going to be tough for him with Cooper Kupp questionable right now with his concussion. But he's got Austin Hooper and Mike Evans in that Atlanta-Tampa Bay game, which could be a major shootout and help put Jake over the top in this one.
Yeah, and if Jake does end up winning this one, he will retain the chalice until at least week 10, where he'll be facing off against Devin. So that's be a pretty good reign right there.
Yeah. One note on this is Dylan. He's got the Vikings playing against Arizona, who I think we all know aren't great at putting up points and do have a really good corner with Patrick Peterson. So I'm not sure if they're really going to have to rely on Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen putting up as insane numbers as they have been. And if that happens, then Jake's definitely got a shot to win this game.
Yeah, and with the uncertainty of Dalvin Cook and his health, there's a lot of question marks on Dylan's side. So I think this is a good shot for Jake to win this one. That's why it's our matchup of the week.
Who do you think's going to win, though, Frankie?
Oh, man, I'm going to take Jake. I'm going to take Jake to win.
Like, as much as I love a good upset, Dylan is not in my division. I'd love for Jake to see another L, so I'm going to go with Dylan in this one.
Well, I mean, it's not about who you want to win. It's about who you think's going to win. Who you think is going to win.
It's always the same in fantasy.
Alrighty. So that's our matchup of the week. We'll look forward to that one. Looking forward to next week. Is there any other matchups you're looking at, Cam?
Why, in fact, there was, Frankie. There was a game that I was looking at as an upset of the week.
I'm upset. Louder! I'm upset. Louder! I'm
I'm upset! Say it louder! I'm upset!
And that game was actually Jacob Pond versus the team that just beat me, Levi.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, so Levi, we saw he's 4th in the power rankings that you got up there. JP sitting there at 7th, so it's not too far a difference there. But what I think is really going to put JP over the top here is he's got New England playing Kansas City this week, Sunday Night Football. That could just put up insane points in that game. And if Jake can get that Tom Brady, Edelman, Gronk stack, and I guess also Gostowski stack, just give him all the points that he can, I don't see many teams competing with that.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to go against. And also I'm looking at Jags defense against the completely incompetent Dallas offense. I mean, if they just need to game plan for Ezekiel Elliott and force Dak to throw the ball and just take. We'll probably be like 3 picks in that game, honestly.
Yeah. One other thing to note is Levi's team is got also Michael Thomas and Mark Ingram on a bye, and he has DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller playing against Buffalo. So I don't know how many points they're going to need to score there. So there's a lot of chances for Levi's team to underperform this week.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I hope this prediction is right for you because, if we're being honest here, your upset of the week predictions have not been that great so far.
Yeah, currently sitting at 4-1. So Levi, don't take this as anything very scary.
You mean, wait, 4-1 or you 1-4?
1-4. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. The other
Opposite
one.
of my fantasy league.
Yeah.
So.
Alrighty, so that was Cam's upset of the week. And we're going to get into a new segment here where we talk about Cam's survey results. And what did you want to call this segment exactly?
So I was thinking of calling this segment Frankie-ly Feud. Play on Family Feud, because I guess I'm just going to ask you what you think people responded with and then say survey says and let you know.
Okay, I'm somewhat excited but also nervous.
So, starting off, I'm not going to get into power rankings here because there's not a lot to really ask about. But looking at the division rankings that we all set up, there was one division that had no votes to be the worst one. Which division do you think that was?
I'm going to say Rotlack just because I feel like people put the Alphas as the worst as a meme.
Yeah, in fact, you're right. I feel like there's actually a bit of a rivalry forming between the Studs and Stoners division and the Alphas division. 'Cause I feel like every team in the Alphas put Studs and Stoners as last, and every team in Studs and Stoners put Alphas at last, and Rotlack was just sitting there in the middle.
Nice.
Yeah, but which team do you think had the most votes for last place? Or which division?
Which division had most votes for the worst?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be Studs and Stoners, right?
Yeah, it does. Suck it, Logan.
Yeah.
Moving on. We have 2 games that were predicted to be landslide wins. And I'm just going to tell you those 2 right now are Tyler has 8 out of 9 votes as him voting to beat Austin this week.
Okay.
And Devin actually has 8 out of 9 votes to beat you this week, Frankie.
Yeah, I completely understand. I would, objectively, if I don't make some moves this week, I completely agree with that. I'm getting like, I'm having a rough couple weeks, man. I'm just getting this. This is the 3rd week in a row I'm playing an Alphas team. It's not fun.
Oh, yeah, that's rough.
It's not fun at all. Like, at least the rest of my division's losing too against like Rotlack, so whatever.
Just so you know, I think you got me next week, so we'll see.
Oh, sorry. That's what I meant. I meant this is my second week in a row with Alphas,
okay.
and next week will be my 3rd week in a row. So if I can escape with 1 win, that would be great.
Well, let's hope you get against Devin. How about that?
We'll see.
Okay, so the next question was, who do you think will win the league? And 2 teams got more than 1 vote for them to win. Which 2 teams do you think that was?
2 teams got more than 1 votes.
Yeah.
Well, I know who I voted for. So I'm gonna say the two teams that got the most votes were I'm gonna go Dylan.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Levi.
You got one. Levi was the second highest vote getter when he got 2 of the 9 votes, and I was actually top with 3.
I thought it'd be another meme thing where people just wouldn't vote for you, but all right.
Yeah, there weren't that many meme responses, but just as a preview of what might come, there is one person that put in the name section that their name was Jake Logan Worst Manager. So they might have had a couple meme answers, you don't know. Anyways, now we have the question of who will lose the league. And we actually had 4 teams get 2 votes, with 1 vote for Dylan, which, I mean, we don't really count. Do you think you can name those 4 teams?
Yeah, I'm just going to use the bottom of my power rankings. I'm just going to go Greg, myself, Lassie, and who else has a rough record? So yeah, me, Lassie, Greg, and I don't know, Justin?
It was actually Jake Logan. Yeah, no, maybe those votes came from Jake Logan Worst Manager. I guess we'll find out.
Oh, okay, that's right. I see what you're doing. I already forgot about that. Okay.
Okay, so 2 teams received more than 1 vote for who will win Constellation Champion, which we all know isn't really a champion, Logan. And who do you think those 2 teams were?
2 teams received more votes. Well, I'm going to go Justin just because of the history. And
he got 3 votes, which was the most.
Yeah, I'm going to look at just who's the better team in the bottom half of my rankings. Well, no, I honestly, if we're being realistic, I think it's probably going to be an alpha. So it's probably Tyler, if I had to put one.
Yeah, Tyler got the second most votes.
All right, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, that's impressive. All right, so 2 teams got more than 1 vote for who will improve the most in the next 3 weeks. Who do you think those 2 teams were?
Well, to Tyler again, and I feel like we were talking about it earlier. I'm going to go Tyler, Justin.
You're close. Justin was 1, and the other one was Levi. Tyler got 1 vote.
Can Levi improve? Oh, because it was Ingram. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, and which teams will start sucking more in the next 3 weeks? Which 3 teams got 2 votes? Which teams do you think those were?
Well, I can't. Well, I can't suck worse. It's not possible. But I'm probably one of them. One, and then I'll go Greg because of the Fournette injury, and then we'll go. Who else got injured this week? Me, Greg, and who's been on a downward trend? Let me look at my scoring sheet. Downward trending teams. There really aren't any. I don't know. Logan?
Actually, the only one you got right was you. The other 2 were Jake Logan and Dylan.
But why?
Because Jake Logan is worst manager.
Okay.
And I mean, Dylan's been overperforming a bit. We all know that he's, might come back down to earth. I guess we'll see.
Okay.
All right. So 1 team got 4 votes for luckiest team. Which team do you think that was?
It's Dylan. It has to be.
Dylan came in second with 2 votes.
What?
The consensus luckiest team was in fact you, Frankie.
What? Oh, come on. Come on. 3 round 1, 2, and 3 are all busts. This is ridiculous. This is an outrage. I want the survey canceled.
All right, and now unluckiest team. We also have another team with 4 votes.
Well, the answer is like Tyler, right? But like I don't know. I don't know. What's the answer?
It's Tyler. Yeah.
Okay, good. I
feel like our league is pretty high on Tyler's team. Just doesn't think he's had a great schedule for him so far. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 teams received more than 1 vote for worst GM decision. Which 2 teams do you think those were?
Well, it has to be Logan. Okay. Yeah, I don't know who the other one would be.
It's Logan and Lassie. Coincidentally,
Ooh.
two teams that traded recently.
Yeah, okay. I guess I can see it.
Okay, so I'm going to skip the Dylan undefeated question because I forgot to put in an option for 0, which is unfortunate, but the majority of the votes were for 1 or 2 more weeks. And then we had one team vote for 10, and I wonder if that was Dylan.
Probably.
Just kidding, it was Logan.
Okay.
Okay, so we might talk about this later, but the votes for who won Logan and Lassie's trade, it ended up being 5-3. Who do you think won?
All right, I'd pick Lassie to win, then I think, but I guess I feel people voted for Logan.
Nope, it was in fact Lassie. Got 62.5% of the vote.
All right.
Yeah, and then just some quick notes about the short answer options. One person for the suggestions/notes for the podcast said rap battles.
Okay.
Then for the mailbag questions, there's one that I just want to preview right now, and it was, I just want to say Jake Logan can suck it. That was a pretty good question.
All right.
And then lastly, some quick punishment ideas that maybe people can think about, give them some inspiration, were take the SAT, roast in all caps, has to be driven to Sudoku by Logan, eat pound cake, have Jake keep his tears in a water bottle and make last place drink it, and spray tan.
Spray tan.
Yeah.
Well, I am personally in favor of a roast where we just do, like, if you guys have ever seen one of those like Comedy Central specials or anything like that, I think a roast would be amazing, just given proper time to just roast, like, not even just fantasy, but like them as a person. It could be a great bonding experience and we could, like, it'd be amazing. I feel like that'd be so much fun.
Yeah, and the goal is to roast them so hard that they don't want to come back to the league because they hate us now.
Well, I don't know about that, but alrighty. And that was everything from your survey?
Yeah, it is. Thank everyone for participating.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Great. Alrighty. So I think that leads us just into our final segment here, which we'll do a little bit of mailbag.
Yeah.
Alrighty. A couple days ago, Dylan sent me a question, and he wrote, can you grade all the trades this week, or actually, can you grade the 2 trades this week for all owners involved? Since then, there have been like 2 or 3 more trades, so we'll go through them a little bit quicker. I guess we already talked a bit about Dylan and JP's trade, the Fab for Alfred Blue. I feel like that trade is ultimately in favor of JP because it got him the win. But
yeah, I agree there.
I don't know if to give it a grade. Maybe not necessarily need a grade. I just say who you think won. I think it's for $20 for a win. Like that's like the concept of like manufacturing wins. Like that's literally how you do it. I'm giving JP an A for that, and it's not like Dylan's gonna play Alfred Blue anyways. But he probably could have gotten more out of JP than just $20. I'm not sure. So I give him like a B minus.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. The next trade I'm looking at here is Logan and Lassie, Jarvis Landry for Alex Collins and Royce Freeman. That's hard because it's this Royce Freeman is such a wild card every week. It's hard to tell if you can start him most weeks with Philip Lindsay really taking command of that running game, and Alex Collins is kind of up and down. Had a good week this week, as opposed to Jarvis Landry, who I think is pretty much an easy start every week. I don't know. Did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I was on the poll. I voted that Lassie won this trade because while Logan did get 2 pretty good players, he's not going to be able to start him every week, obviously.
Yeah.
And I don't know how often he's going to want to start him over Carlos Hyde, Sony Michel. And so he's going to have to decide between Philip Lindsay, Isaiah Crowell, Alex Collins, Jamal Williams, and Royce Freeman in maybe his flex spot.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he felt he needed so much depth in that position rather than, securing one pretty solid starter in Jarvis Landry, because now he's forced to either start Calvin Ridley, Quincy Nunwa, or Robbie Anderson as his wide receiver 2 every week. Not a great spot to be in.
I'm wondering if the thought is he's going to try and use some of these running backs as a package for a wide receiver from somebody else on somebody else's team, or just wants like this crazy depth of like average players. I don't know, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, he's definitely got a lot of resources, but it's not going to help his team win now, which I think is what he really needs.
Yeah. So I think the next trade up would be then Dylan and Logan. Both these guys trading a lot this week. Dylan acquires Dion Lewis and gives the $20 that he got from JP to Logan. And then they had another trade as well, where the trade before this, they had the trade where Dylan acquired Zur Lean. I thought I was done saying his name, not, for Jamal Williams of the Green Bay Packers. I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, this isn't a lot of great players being traded. Obviously, Zerline is a really good kicker, but he's still a kicker, and he's coming back from injury, so we don't really know if that will affect his kicking game or when he'll be back. And $20 a fab isn't really that much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. This makes Dylan's team better if Zerline comes back and plays like Zerline has played. And Logan, I guess, it gave up on the idea of having the best kicker, who is apparently a rest of season RB1, he says sometimes. And, he got rid of one of those running backs that he had for $20. Good for him.
Yeah, I guess I get that Logan's hurting in the FAP department, and so I get why that $20 could be. I'm gonna give grade wise. I'm gonna give Dylan a B, and I'm gonna give Logan a B minus. I don't know. It's just so whatever to me.
Yeah. Honestly, the piece I'd probably most want in this trade is Jamal Williams, because let's say Aaron Jones does get hurt or something like that, he'll be more valuable than if Dion Lewis, if Derrick Henry gets hurt, because I just don't believe as much in that Tennessee offense as the Green Bay offense. But
yeah,
all around, it's nothing super important.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my grades. I'm gonna give them both a C. You both get C's. Congratulations.
They pass.
All right, and the last trade that I'm a little jealous of, if I'll be honest, is you and Tyler, Allen Robinson for TJ Yeldon. I was talking to you about this before the podcast, but I was going to make an offer for TJ Yeldon this morning, and I woke up and saw that you guys traded. So there's that.
Yeah, my thought process here is just, right now, John Brown is my second best wide receiver, and behind him isn't anyone I'd ever really want to start. And then TJ Yeldon, with Fournette being injured, is definitely a solid start. I would have won if I started him last week, but I just don't know if I'm ever going to have the onions to start him over my top 3 running backs. So I'm just kind of wasting him away on my bench, whereas I could definitely get more points out of Allen Robinson. And then Tyler, with Ajayi going down, Yeldon will give him solid production for as long as he's starting in that RB2 spot. And, he's got Antonio Brown and Julio Jones, so how much does he really need Allen Robinson?
Yeah. Just looking over Allen Robinson's production so far this season, because he had a bye last week. Yeah, he's been all right, I guess.
Yeah, nothing great, but better than what I have as my WR3 right now.
Yeah, and, I'll take a Penn State grad any day. I'll tell you that.
I mean, he made that one Jets quarterback look good, right?
Christian Hackenberg, of course. Some of the best, it's hard to call him wasted potential, but I think just teams haven't figured how to use his talent yet, and it's more on the NFL than it is on him, if you ask me.
Yeah,
All right, thanks for the Nebo question. Looks like we have another one here. Who's this one from?
I believe that was from Devin. I got it in my survey, and just wanted to give you a chance to look at it. But
Gotcha.
It is, what are your thoughts on abolishing or reducing the number of keepers?
Well, we can only reduce it to 1, so 1 or 0. My thoughts on abolishing. I think I like keepers. Obviously, it's rough when your player just decides to not show up. It just decides to not show up and not play football. That's hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have any necessarily have any qualms with keepers. I feel like people figured out pretty quickly how to use keepers effectively, and it's worked out for pretty much everyone. Even Tyler, who only had Antonio Brown really to keep, is doing really well with just that, taking over a not so great team. Because as long as you have one good asset, you're set up reasonably well for the next season. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts?
I feel like all the teams that aren't good right now don't have keepers to blame for that as much as just other issues that have happened to their team.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to abolishing keepers, but I'm not sure how the logistics of it would go with Dylan being all upset that he drafted for keepers this season, so we can't get rid of him and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think at the very least we should rock with it for one more season at the very least, and maybe circle back on this decision, this kind of conversation, next draft period, around then to talk about the season after, because I feel like we're already so far into the season at this point. We got to at least do it one more year. Yeah. Were there any other mailbag questions that were given to you?
Yeah, there was one that I wanted to keep secret for you, but I will tell it to you now.
Uh-oh.
It is, when is Frankie going to trade Le'Veon?
Who wrote that one?
I can't really tell you easily, but if I had to guess, it would be Jake Logan.
Well, offer me a trade. I've basically been shopping him the last 3 weeks. I just haven't found. And not that I haven't found the right value. Honestly, there's one trade last week I was considering very heavily, and there was at one point where I was like, I had come to peace with myself of just saying, yeah, I'm going to do it. But I got cold feet, honestly. But he's coming back soon, and I could just write it out. Hope to make a second half push and sneak into the playoffs, but I don't know. I've wasted so much time with him already. I feel like I might as well stick him out. But I don't know, if someone can offer me value who's looking to make a good playoff run this season, I've been open all season and I'm still open.
Yeah, I mean, if I were you, I'd be looking at my division, see that we're all 2-3 or 1-4 right now. So I'm not really worried about falling behind right now. And if you get Le'Veon Bell back after his bye week, then your team jumps up to one of the top teams in your division. And if you can just win out when you play your division at the end of the season, you could easily make playoffs. That's
the thing. That's kind of what I've been wrestling with. But I'm also struggling in the wide receiver department with. I'm struggling in every department, honestly. Although I did stash Braith this last week, so hopefully I have a tight end that can actually start and have. Seals Jones has been fine, but yeah.
Fine with his 0 points this week.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't think no one should envy the position I'm in.
But just so everyone is clear, you're open to a trade at the right price?
I mean, I've been saying I've been open to a trade all season. I don't maybe I didn't make that clear enough, but I've been saying that the whole season. If you think this is your season or a season you want to make waves in, who knows where Le'Veon's going to be next season. He could be a Jet. He could be, probably not going to be an Eagle, but you never know with how the shady trade's going down. Maybe he'll be a Bill next year. There's a lot of different teams who could be looking for him. Just the unknown is tantalizing, but Yeah, I'm always open for serious offers. Like there was an offer received last week from Levi, which I'm not sure was serious or not. So I'm gonna put you on blast a little bit. That was kind of ridiculous, but I don't know. We'll see.
And just to be clear for everyone, I just want to make sure we know that the keeper deadline is week 8 before the games start, right?
I believe that is true. Yes.
Okay, and if we trade after the keeper deadline, can those players be used as keepers?
A little bit of voiceover here just to clear some stuff up. The earliest I can set the trade deadline for is on Sleeper is week 9. So, in my opinion, we should just have week 9 be both the keeper deadline week and the trade deadline week, meaning that if you want to keep a player for next season, they must be on your roster before that week 9 starts. And it'll coincide with that'll be the last week you can trade. I think I'll put up a poll after this episode goes up and see your guys' opinion, because I don't believe we ever officially voted on it, and I'm pretty flexible. I don't think it's too big of a deal at the moment, but yeah.
Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Annual Cam Fantasy Football Podcast. I have been Frankie.
And I'm Cam.
Welcome to the Losers Club once again. Next week we'll come back to another episode, do a weekly recap, do a preview, maybe throw another segment. We'll have a survey again. I'm pretty sure, Cam, isn't that right? We'll keep doing the survey thing.
Yeah, as long as people like him.
Yeah, I like him a lot. We'll do that. Maybe we'll even get a guest on next week. It's been a while. I'm kind of putting this on you now, but we could try and definitely get a guest on next week. If you are interested, maybe reach out to us. We get something figured out, because that would be something I'm interested in for sure.
Yeah, the survey said that there was 77% of people were interested, with 11 being maybe. So.
Okay. So good luck to everyone on your matchups this week, besides for Devin.
And Justin.
And we will see you all next week. Bye-bye.